INFJs, let's be honest, so many of us are insightful, deep, brilliant, but are still underpaid. It seems like if INFJs are choosing themselves, they end up in fields that are not being honored the way that they deserve to be honored. And so many INFJs make progress in so many areas of their lives, but this one aspect, the financial one, always stays a struggle. And today I want to talk about just that. 5 reasons why INFJs stay broke even when they're brilliant. And it's in perfect combination with our bootcamp's call this month, which is on INFJ prosperity. This is probably the one aspect of the 5 pillars that I took on last when it came to integrating that into my life. And I've spent a lot of time on building up INFJ prosperity, understanding how it works while staying in integrity, and also making sure that you give yourself the abundance that you so would like to have in your life, so you have the freedom to live however you want. So this is what we're focusing on this month's live call. It's going to be this Saturday, March 29th. So make sure to join us before that, not only to be part of the live call, but also kick off with us the entire month on INFJ Prosperity in our Facebook group. Everything you need to know in order to join us, you can find through the links in the description. Reason number 1, you overgive and undervalue. As INFJs, it seems like we keep on working more hours than we have to. We keep doing more. We keep making sure that the entire atmosphere, wherever we're at, if we're at our job, if we're doing something for a client, if we're working by ourselves, it seems like we have to do so much to just be seen, to be valued. It's a natural tendency of us to overgive. And we not only do this in relationships, but we also do it in our work. And the reason for this is that we feel that what I can offer, which is very often untangible, is not valuable. It's not worth it. But the truth is, you being in a group, you being in an atmosphere is already helping the entire team. It might be that there's less friction. It might be that clients are coming to you because they feel safe with you and they trust you. It might be that you have some insights on things that nobody sees. But if you're not valuing what you're offering, nobody else can. So before you even think about getting another job or asking for a raise or doing any of those things, make sure that you yourself know what you bring to the table and really look at it from the perspective of how that company would have functioned without you. And you will see how many things would work differently. Just because it seems intangible doesn't mean it isn't. You can really think of that. And before you even think you have to prove your worth to others, make sure that you know it. If you, for example, are in a team environment and you are the one who's holding everything together, and once you're gone, work isn't able to be done the way it is when you're there because everybody's fighting, nobody's staying on the same page, it's not one theme, whatever it may be, then this is something you bring value to. You don't have to necessarily explain it to others, but you have to know what you bring to the table. And then you have to put worth onto it because you can't expect others to do that. You have to be the one who stops overgiving and starts valuing who you are and what you bring to any kind of endeavor that you attach yourself to. A practical tip, write it all down. You don't even have to share with anybody, but you have to keep track of what you've been able to accomplish for you to actually start becoming aware of how much you are already putting in. Side number 2, you hide your power to stay safe. When INFJs are in their power, they trigger other people because our power is uncomfortable. It brings up unresolved things. And so INFJs very often stay in this hidden space. And I'm a big advocate for not sharing everything that you are at work, for example, because it's not necessary to create close dynamics with people that might not be in your best interest. But that is a different story. What I'm talking about here is that you have the power to see when people are missing something. You have the power to see problems before others do. You have power to have the insight of how things could work out in a way that nobody has thought about. But we don't want to voice it because once you start standing out, you can become a target. That's just part of the game. But I'm here to tell you, if you don't step into your power, you will always feel like something is missing. If you would feel like, oh, I'm being compensated in a way that makes me happy and everything is great, you wouldn't feel this discomfort. You wouldn't feel like you shouldn't be where you're at. I should be able to have more safety in my life and more abundance. You have to step into your power. And that means leaning into those aspects of yours that you bring to the table. You don't have to be like everybody else. There are enough people who are really good at accounting and the details and all of that. You're the one who brings something that not everybody else can bring into the game. And just because it's not something that everybody talks about, that doesn't mean that this doesn't make money or it doesn't bring value or it's not worth honoring. So it's on you to stop playing small, to stop looking like you're just slower than everybody else and compare yourself with others for things they might be better at. Start looking at those things where you're better than others, where you have natural skill, where you have honed that skill because it's something that you love to do. And because of that, you can improve your team, your business, or whatever you're involved in. Share your brilliant ideas. Share those things that could manifest that nobody sees yet and put energy towards it. Don't wait for others to recognize that your brilliant ideas have merit. Just take them on, do them, show them, make them part of who you are and how you show up, and you'll see how your entire dynamic at any kind of work situation or anything that creates income for you will change drastically. Reason number 3, you as an INFJ think making money equals selling out. So this is probably one of those things that I struggled with the most because when I was younger, I was actually already making a good income, but it always seems like I have to sacrifice my integrity. If I choose the path that means making money, that means I have to give up what I actually crave, who I actually am. I have to be like everybody else. I have to be part of the corporate world. I have to neglect my soul. And it seems like I can either be all that I am or I can choose making money. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to make that choice, even if you're in the corporate world. So it's all about understanding that the value that you bring is who you are. It's not about you adapting or pretending like you're everybody else. They have their strengths and you have your strengths. Your strengths are what makes money, and making money is not something to be ashamed of. It's not a bad thing. Money just amplifies who you are. Money is abundance. What you do with that money is your choice. So you can use your money afterwards to do things like the people you don't like and spend them on things that don't matter to you, or you can use that money for safety, for helping people, for making sure that you have choices and nobody is putting you in situations where you have to do things you don't want to do. So wanting money and aiming for prosperity from such a perspective is not a bad thing at all. You don't have to look at money as greed because there are people who want to have money to buy things they don't care about, to impress other people that they don't care about. That's not the only way you can create money. So it's on you to define what money and prosperity and abundance means to you. And if it's freedom, then attach that to that. And also know that the main thing is you're not selling out. You don't have to give up on your soul's essence in order to make money. You can really just look at it from the perspective of, in order for me to be able to live out my truth, in order for me to go and do the things that matter to me, to be philanthropic or to be giving or to do whatever my soul is calling me out for, I need to feel safe. And in order to feel safe, I have to make sure that my money situation is correct. One of the things we talk about in bootcamp, particularly when it comes to INFJ prosperity, is that I always say you don't have to make INFJ prosperity the same thing as your purpose. Later on, those things can become one. But first and foremost, if you want to integrate purpose into your life, you first have to make sure that your necessities are taken care of so you don't have to make compromises when it comes to how you want to live out your purpose. So don't feel like making money is selling out. Define it for yourself and know that this is an ingredient in order to live that abundant life that allows you to tap into your purpose. Reason number 4, you wait to be chosen instead of claiming space. So this is something that we as INFJs experience in all kinds of situations, not just at work, also in relationships. But I've seen this in work situations, particularly because I've worked with INFJs in corporate jobs, and it's always been, I just have to prove my worth. I have to show them how much I'm willing to sacrifice for the company, how much I'm willing to put into it, how much I want to work, how much I really want to sacrifice. And that's just not the right approach, because you either have somebody above you who wants to see you win, or if you have somebody who enjoys the fact that there is a hierarchy and they can just push you down, you can do whatever you like. You're never going to gain their approval. And it's the system they live in. They are being pushed down by the person above and they're pushing you down. If you're in such a situation, it's on you to claim your space, meaning this is not something you should accept. It's not that you can't say, I'm going to stay in here until I find something new, but this is not a space you have to accept because you say, oh, it's everywhere the same way. No. All you need is just one superior who sees your strengths, one superior who wants to see you win. If you're in a corporate job, if you have your own business, whatever it may be, if you have people above you who don't want to see you win, it's time to claim your space. It's to say, this is what I offer. This is the value it brings. I know that it does. So this is the kind of amount I want. And this is what I demand. This is, of course, coming from an idealistic perspective because we all know there are limits to this. But most INFJs massively undervalue how much they would be getting paid if they actually claim their space and they remove themselves from situations that are not valuing who they are. There was this incredible experiment. There was this world-known classical musician, and he was playing in the subway station in New York, I think, I'm not sure. And barely anybody stopped. Barely anybody gave him any money. And that was a person who has made fortunes playing for people who appreciate his gift. So you can be the most talented person ever if you're in an environment where what you bring to the table is not being valued. You cannot do anything, and you cannot wait for people to recognize, oh, you're somebody special. And sometimes you might think, if I put myself in a situation where the competitors are not that many, then I'm going to stand out. That's not the case. Look at that example of the musician. He was in that subway station. Still, barely anybody stopped. He made barely any money. And it's not because he wasn't good enough. So it's on us to claim our space. It's on us to say, this is what I bring to the table. And if I'm not being appreciated, I'm going to look elsewhere. I'm not saying you'll always find something, but so often we think, well, I'm not going to find anything better anyway. Well, have you sent out those 50 applications? Have you really gone to the job searching sites? Have you really asked for a raise or to be put into another team? When you've done all of that, yes, we can talk about the fact that maybe there are no openings for you. But if you haven't done those steps, then you can't really know what's going on. No matter if you think you know, you only will know once you try. And as long as you feel subconsciously what you have to offer is not worth more and it's not worth being respected more, then you're always going to stay in situations where you feel like I have to prove that I'm worthy of it. Reason number 5, you're playing the martyr instead of the magnet. Again, this is something that not only happens in relationships, it also happens at work. We sacrifice so much. We make work easier for the people around us. We take things off other people's plates in the hope that they will recognize what we're doing for others, particularly if we're helping somebody succeed at work, which can happen very easily, right? We see our boss, we want to make it easy for them, we want to make them shine. It's a natural tendency of ours. But what we have to learn as INFJs, we're not really functioning well as martyrs. This is not a place to be. When I first started this channel, this was something I read everywhere. INFJs are martyrs. This is just the definition of what an INFJ is. Thankfully, we've changed that narrative because this is just self-proclaimed self-sabotage. Nothing else. We're so much more than martyrs. Just because we can be, that doesn't mean that that's the right way to go. We're not here to put all our energy forward in order to survive. We're here to thrive and be an example of what it means to thrive while choosing yourself and deciding what we're going to do with the prosperity that we have, how we're going to allocate it, how we're going to help, how we're going to make our life, our family's life, our community's lives better. It's on us. When you take ownership of that part of your life, you will see how powerful you actually are. So this is not about toughening it out. This is not about sacrificing so much. And I can give you a great example. When I was at my last job, like 7 years ago, I was working in a high-tier consulting company. I was working in banking in Europe. So everybody was working crazy hours. I wasn't. And I made that clear from the get-go. I even said it in the interview. I said, I'm not going to shine through working a lot. That's just not me. I bring other things to the table. And that's the approach I had because I knew that I'm not the workhorse. I'm not able to do that. Maybe other INFJs can. I definitely can't. I can't be working 60 hours a week. It's not my thing. That's not the place I thrive in. And I made no secret out of it. I knew what I brought to the table was something different. It was an addition to the team. It was something that they wouldn't get anywhere else. They weren't able to create that kind of relationships with clients how I was able to make them because I understood them. I made them feel seen. I understood what their pain points were. And I was able to create and maintain work relationships with clients where everybody was happy with the results and with the entire environment. And this is what I brought to the table. As an INFJ, you don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to be a martyr. You don't have to prove how much you can suffer. You bring something to the table, no matter if you're working for somebody, if you're a freelancer, if you have your own business, whatever it may be. And it's on us to claim that and to see that we're a magnet with what we bring to the table. You don't get paid more by sacrificing more. You will get paid more if you show your value clearly. So the way I positioned myself was, I can make those contacts happen. I've been in really difficult situations by myself and I was able to not only handle it, but win that situation. Those were the kind of qualities that I as an INFJ brought to the table that were a benefit to the company. And so don't try to be like everybody else. Don't try to sacrifice and like work a lot if that's not who you are. I'm not saying every INFJ is like that. I know INFJs who are incredible, like workhorses and who can do a lot. As I said, I'm not like that. And that's okay. Whatever you are, whatever you like, whatever is in line with who you are, that's what we have to bring forward. That's what we have to shine light on. Instead of trying to be like everybody else and always feeling we're less than, we're slower than, we have to compare with other people. Let's stop that. What are you good at? What are you bringing to the table that is actually harder for others than it is for you? And that's what we have to market. That's what we have to put front and center because we're the ones who have to start valuing it before anybody else can. Remember, if you want to go deeper into this topic, I invite you to join us in Bootcamp. And in this month's call specifically, so this Saturday, March 29th, we're going to talk about INFJ prosperity in detail. There are also a lot of video lessons on this topic within Bootcamp. So I invite you to join our amazing community of INFJs creating their INFJ epic life together. And as I said, this month's topic is INFJ prosperity, and we're going to put all our effort into that. So I hope to see many of you this Saturday. Everything you need to know in order to join us, you can find through the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in line with today's topic, then check out the video you see on the screen right now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.